Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Idea to Value podcast. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn, and I'm thrilled to have with me today Byron Lopez, who is a technical director on one of my favorite TV shows of all time, South Park. Byron, it's wonderful having you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Great to be on your show.
Welcome to the Idea to Value podcast, where in every episode we highlight the latest insights into creativity and innovation from experts around the world. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn. I care about the evidence behind what makes ideas happen, and I've already helped thousands of people just like you through my unique insights into recent scientific findings of how creativity works. I also show you how to turbocharge innovation programs so they finally deliver on the value and ideas you've been struggling to execute. Get your free training on how creativity can be improved by registering now at www.ideatovalue.com. Now let's get on with today's episode. So for people who don't know about sort of what South Park is, if there's any people left in the world, can you just tell us what is South Park and what makes it different from other TV shows?
Okay. Well, South Park is a Comedy Central show that plays on Comedy Central. It is a show based off of some kids that are always looking for some mischievous way to get into trouble or, things that they can get into. It's a show that started in 1997 on air. And it's a show that's been going on now we're going on our 24th season, coming up this coming up fall.
And one of the things, in case you haven't seen it before, it's animated, and it's known for a very crude animation style, crude humor, but over the last couple of years, really sort of insightful satire on the way that the world works as well. So Byron, can you just give us a brief background as to how you got started there? What was your journey, and what made you want to get into the world of animation?
Well, I think I've been a love of art. I've had the love of art my whole life, as far as I can remember. After my senior year in college, I went to SIGGRAPH in Los Angeles, California, which is an animation convention. Me being from Chicago, born and raised, I went to this convention to see what was available out there at the time. And this was in 2004. So I went to the convention and I was like, man, this is where I need to be. This is where I will have more an opportunity to be able to get my foot through the door, to be able to start my journey, my actual career, our career there. So that's where my journey started. After going to this convention, after graduation in 2005, I decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. When I moved to Los Angeles, I was given an opportunity to interview and train for the show. At that point, I was invited back for the second season, the second half of season 9. And like I said, we're in season 24 now. So that's just a little bit of how I began there at work.
And what exactly does a technical director do, especially at a TV show where things are still meant to look like they're cut from cardboard paper?
You're right. Always trying to keep that look as the show's been evolving. One of the things you'll notice is it's not created so simple. It doesn't have that sort of choppiness to it that we all, loved in the beginning. But overall, what my responsibility is to go ahead and get the show put together as far as assets, creating backgrounds, getting them ready for production, characters, props, any assets that the boys are going to use on the show, making everything functional, setting up shots for production to keep going on. And then it'll go on after my department goes on to lip sync, and then the rest of the departments from there.
Now, one of the things which I've always respected about South Park, apart from it being hilariously funny, is it's also one of the fastest to produce TV shows out there. There's rumors that while other famous animated TV shows take months to produce and sort of get every joke perfectly right, South Park is started, written, animated, voiced, produced and sent out in less than a week in between each episode. Is that actually true?
Right. It is. It's actually true. That's all part of my journey with that show. Just overall, there's no other show like it as far as how crunch time, when we're in crunch time, how the show has to be. We're constantly going to produce a show in sometimes we do it in a 6-day period. Sometimes it's even shorter where we have a little bit of space to go ahead and work things out on the show. But that's all part of the story behind that show, is just overall the amount of hours that the crew puts in to go ahead and produce the show in the timely manner that it's put out there. And because we can produce it in such a fast time, that's why we're always relevant on topics. Being the presidential, say the Obama McCain episode, we were on. We had 2 versions of the show to see, because we didn't know what direction the election was going to take. So you never know. So yeah, all those little things, it's sort of looking back at it now, it's all part of the journey working there, which is it's always crunch time at work, no matter what.
I mean, this concept of crunch time is quite interesting. How many days of the year or weeks or however much you count it is actually spent working on the show? And is there ever any time when you're completely away from work and not thinking about drawing Cartman in a new way or whatever it is, where you're literally having downtime?
Yeah. So when I first started with the show, we were doing a spring season. We were doing a spring production run, and then we were doing a fall production run. So at that time, we were producing 14 episodes in a year. We were doing 7 and 7. Now, as you've noticed, we've only do 10 episodes out of the year, which production starts sometime September and then goes till December. So during that time, me personally I live in Mississippi. I have to leave my family and travel to Los Angeles to produce the show during that time, from September to December. And during that time, ideas are already getting thrown around. You never know what's going to get put on in front of you to start working or anything like that. What's in the works.
And how do you personally sort of work during this crunch time? I imagine a lot of animators or creative people love the idea of just being able to work on something till it's perfect, until it's like done absolutely to its full potential. If you've only got a couple of days, or I assume in some cases only a couple of hours to get through your workflow, that must be a sort of a different type of creative process that you personally have. Can you just run us through how a week might look for you?
For a week for me, well, usually like our Thursdays would be our Mondays, because the show has to be ready to go by Wednesday morning. So during that time, as the week progresses, hours get longer at work. Of course, production, we get more and more of production during that time. It will look off a little. It's a little bit easier. Sorry, it's a little bit easier on Thursdays, and as the week progresses, like I said, it gets a little bit harder and harder. There's last minute changes all the way when it comes. I mean, there can be last minute changes, I don't know, 2-3 hours before the show has to be sent off to get to be able to get put on the air. So the way how this show gets put together so quickly is just overall the team that we have. The team that we have is such a, I always refer to it as a well-oiled machine. Everything just works smoothly in production just because everybody is trained and has gotten to that level where work is no longer work in a way. That's me personally, and I think a lot of the studio works that way, just because how fast we can produce. So it's no longer a thing of like, yeah, you're getting hit with, different things here and there, but everybody's at that level now where we can just bang it out quick, get it ready for them so we can get it in front of Matt and Trey's eyes and they can look at it. If any changes got to be made, then we'll still have time to go ahead and make any of those changes that have to be made. So creatively, I mean, I don't have any secrets as far as to my personal workflow as to creating the show. It's just years of experience of getting myself to that level of the pressure. I know the pressure's on because we have to produce in a fast manner, but it's a matter of, okay, I get work. I already know I'm already, how can I say, it's already second nature to me. So what I have to do when it comes to backgrounds, when it comes to building characters and other things that I have to do. So it just makes it easier as the years go by for everyone else. And that's why we can produce faster and faster. As the years, you know, keep going and stuff, we're producing a show in actually a much smaller time to be able to allow changes to happen.
For a machine to work that well, like you called the team a well-oiled machine, there has to be a lot of trust between people and between departments at those points of handover. How do you how does the team feel when they're working together?
I think the team feels actually at this point we actually feel quite well where we can trust each other as far as also a big part of it is just overall how work is distributed, because some artists are stronger in some areas than other artists are, and the work has to be distributed based on your strong points. Yeah, we're always learning because you never know what curveball they're going to throw at us. You might be like, hey, I don't even know how to do this, but guess what? I got to learn how to do it because it got to be done, you know, or maybe it might be for a promo for this week's episode. And hey, it's got to be done by lunchtime. And if it's something that I still don't know what to do and how they want it done, it's something that I got to figure out. But everybody has that sort of mentality as far as like, if there's an issue and there's a problem that you have to solve, you have to figure it out and solve it. But you know, we're all comfortable working with each other. We communicate with each other. All the artists communicate with each other as much as we can, as far as the technical directors will communicate with the animators, because we work close with each other with the shots. After it goes to lip sync, you know, then the animation department gets it before it gets sent out to get rendered. But you know, in case there's issues with the setups and so forth. So we'll communicate as much as we can, since we're all in you know, one big studio and stuff. So we have that, I guess that opportunity to be close with each other. And it's a great opportunity also for the artists, because we grow as far as artists ourselves. And we also get that sort of feeling where we have sort of this little piece of us in the show where we're trying to solve problems for a big, you know, even though it's not our show, but we have some part in play in it.
What about when you're not in crunch time and the season's over and you're back home with your family? Do you sort of leave creativity to the side and you just take some time off from being creative, or do you have other creative outlets when you're in your personal time?
No, I actually have other creative outlets. My overall dream that I'm working towards is to own my own animation studio. I have my mind's always constantly in the creative mode. I create different cartoon series. I'm actually also, when I'm here in Mississippi, I mean, I'm the art teacher at the elementary school. So I teach kids from kindergarten all the way to 4th grade. So, and then during this time that we've been quarantined, I've also had the opportunity to produce a show called Art Time with Mr. Color that is out there on YouTube. And it's a way for kids to be able to, you know, go online and have some time with me to be able to produce, you know, produce a project, try to make it as easy as possible for them, playing with different types of just ages. But I'm always in that whole creative vibe, always trying to collaborate with other artists. Other artists want to collaborate with me. So it's, when it comes to art, there's never a snooze button on it or anything like that. It's a daily thing for me.
What's your feeling about how children nowadays are responding to creativity? Do you think when you were younger, was it easier to be creative or more allowed to be creative, or are kids nowadays more able to express themselves creatively, or is there something holding them back, maybe?
Well, it's easier for the kids to be able to express themselves more creatively now, just because of the outlets that they have. Um, Say, for instance, even this right here, being on Zoom. You know, growing up, we never had the opportunity to be able to talk to other people as far as being so connected with each other. I didn't have the opportunities younger either to be able to meet people that were out in the industry. Nowadays, it's it's a little bit more easier, or people are more willing to do that for the younger generation. I see that it's than we did when we were younger.
And how about your own children? What do you do to encourage their creativity?
I mean, I try to encourage them as much as I can. They have a lot of art, the love of art that they get from me. I have my son Byron Jr., who loves to paint. My son Lorenzo likes to draw his pictures. He draws pictures of these restaurants that he wants to open up, and he draws all the different levels of the restaurant. Um, they're real creative in the sense. I try to push them as much as I can. My son Byron Jr., I mean, he loves to sing, he loves to dance. He's your overall entertainer, performer. That's what he wants to do for a living. You ask him what he wants to become and do what he has to do, and it's never a dull moment with him. He's always recording videos, always being creative.
Fantastic. Byron, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking with you. I've really enjoyed it. If people want to find out more about you, your work, your ideas on creativity, what's the best place they can go to find out more?
Sure, they can search me up on LinkedIn.com, just Byron Lopez. Or they can also search me up on YouTube. Just search up Art Time with Mr. Color. It's a show that's just starting off the ground, but eventually I want to get it to the point where I can go ahead and if people love the cause so much, they can go ahead, and if they donate to the cause, they can, all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds will be given back into the art system around the world for kids that don't have art supplies. I hope that it gets to a point where I can go ahead and fund an art teacher for schools that don't have art teachers in their school system. So Art Time with Mr. Colors, where you can find some of my stuff.
Perfect. I'll make sure to get that down in the link in the description below. Byron, it's been wonderful speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking again with you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me again. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment about what you thought and what you'd like to see more about. If you want to take your creativity and innovation capabilities to the next level, then invest in yourself with the premium training only available at ideatovalue.com. These exclusive training modules have all been put together by me, Nick Skillicorn, and have been used by thousands of artists, innovation leaders, and CEOs to become better at understanding the source of their creativity and executing on their innovation ambitions. And there is no risk to you, as they're backed by our money-back guarantee. Now, don't forget to go out there and make your ideas a reality. See you again soon.